Hello everyone and welcome back to the Not Evil Studios devlog for our brand new VR game, TDVR, The Defense of Vale Rest. Apologies this took a bit longer to go out, I have been frightfully ill, but I'm back now, so let's begin.
Hello again, I'm Kura, back with some Unity shenanigans. So, as you may have heard, we're adding non-VR support into TDVR, so I'll be showing my progress of making our current mechanics work in non-VR. So for starters, I worked on adding a switcher between non-VR and VR. So when I launch the game, it will try to launch in VR, and you'll see that headset's connected, so it's in VR. And I have, and you can see the output here, it does say the XR, which is the framework that's being used, has started successfully. And I have a key press. When I press V, you can see it says deinitializing XR, and that's successfully deinitialized. And now we're in non-VR. And if I click it again, back into VR, you can see it's connected to the headset, which I've shoved on my bed. So it's not exactly on my head, but yeah. And I can switch again, nice and seamless, quick enough. But for this devlog, I'll be demonstrating non-VR, so we'll stay in that mode. While in non-VR mode, there are specific behaviors for movement and interacting with the world that are run instead of the VR behavior. So these behaviors won't run at all while VR mode is on. So you'll notice that we have some basic movement controls, so I can move the mouse around to look around, I can use WASD to move, and I can jump with spacebar. So on top of that, I've added the use of the bows so far. So when I hover over a bow like this, you can see there's a new crosshair in the middle, and I click E, it'll pick up, and it's in my hand now. And I can hold right click and use the scroll wheel to adjust the amount of power I put in to my bow drawback. You can still move the mouse and move around. I'll probably make it so you move slower when you're drawing back with the bow, and you'll aim it however you want and fire. And then, like, different powers are going to fire further or not as far. Obviously the power will be adjusted for the arrows eventually to balance them a bit better. This is just how they are at the moment and quite weak. If you want to cancel your bow firing when you're drawing back, you just want to scroll all the way in with the mouse scroll wheel and let go, and it will not fire an arrow. This arrow release cancelling that I've been demonstrating here is also implemented into the VR side as well, which it wasn't before, but now it is. So you can click G to drop the bow, and you can see it stays there. Obviously that's temporary behavior to make it stay there like that. Alternatively, you can hover over another bow, so my cursor is over this fire bow now, and click E, and you'll see that the regular bow dropped and I picked up the fire bow. You can tell by the fire particles on the end of my arrow, and the red flight on the arrow. So I can go and fire this bow now. Boom. And then I can drop that, or switch it, grab the film arrow, pull back, boom, boom, explosions.
Hello, it's Chris again to show you some of the modelling I've been doing in Blender. We're going to start off with the Goblin. You may have seen this Goblin being posted on our socials, and this is the first humanoid creature that I've ever modelled in my life, and I have to say, I really like him. To model him, I used a combination of the skin modifier along with some sculpting. With the skin modifier, I sort of created a very base human shape, makes it kind of look like a hot dog man. And then I used some sculpting to add some details to him, like around his chest, his stomach area, his arms here, along with like stress lines on like the top of his head here, and like around the nose. Sculpting was used for about 80% of what you see on the Goblin. So here you can see I've used a skin modifier with some subdivision and some mirroring, and then what you can do is essentially like create your sort of starter body for your character here. It's a starfish hot dog man. But essentially, you use that to get a basis of a shape for a humanoid, and then you can go in there and use the sculpt tool to sort of sculpt it out and drag out fingers and drag out the limbs the way you want them. We also gave him a rig, a bone structure, and gave him some default animations to see how well his retopology holds up with animation. And I have to say, it looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. We might well be seeing him towing the line in front of our deadly towers soon. Retopology, for people who don't know, is the process of reducing the amount of vertices and the faces that a computer has to draw when rendering a game object. It's one of the best techniques you can use for optimizing games, especially mobile games, which is why you see a lot of mobile games use that low topology art style. So initially, this goblin had around 200,000 vertices, 600,000 edges, and almost 400,000 faces, which isn't ideal. After retopologizing, you can see here he's got around 22,000 vertices now, 55,000 edges, and 32,000 faces, which is infinitely better than what we had and is much easier for a PC to handle.
So next, I'll tell you about how we've implemented the tower building into non-VR at the moment. So we wanted to keep the tower building to be more interesting than just idly hitting the hammer against the in-construction tower, just like how in VR it's interactive, where you have to physically hit your hammer against it. So I'll just show you the concept that I prototyped. So you're going to see this hit point, and this hitting this will increase your build progress. You'll notice that the hit point comes around with me no matter where I am around the tower. That's so that you can build the tower from any angle, and you can continue building it by hitting the points and see the build progress is going up. So if I keep hitting, boom, it builds the tower. And the next feature I'll be showing you can add to this minigame as well. But before I talk about that, I'll demonstrate what this feature is. So if I go and select my player over here, and you can see there's this lovely NVR held objects, NVR meaning non-VR. You'll see all held objects. You can see there's a list of a bunch of empty nothings, and the hammer, which you can see is in my hand. Now if I go and pick up this bow, instead of dropping the hammer, you'll notice that the hammer is still in my all held objects, but so is now the bow. So this is like an inventory system that I've now made. When I pick up the other bows, you'll see they also get added to that list in the corner here. And when you click the number keys, you can switch between what you are currently holding. So you'll notice that if I click 2, it goes to the second element in the list, which is element 1, but it starts from 0. And you'll see I'm now holding the normal bow. If I click 3, I got the fire bow with the fire arrow, and 4, got the bomb arrow. Back to 1 is back to the hammer. So this new feature that I've just shown you, I'll show you how this can add to the minigame in the same way that you'll be able to do in VR. So where you can be like hammering away at the tower, building it. Oh no, you hear some enemies behind you. You can quickly switch to your bow and start firing at them. I don't know, maybe you only have a normal bow and you'll go kill one now, and you'll go back to hammering at the tower, and oh, you hear a group of enemies, get the bomb arrow and boom, destroy them, and continue building your tower until there, and now the tower can help you out on the fighting.
And that will do it for this devlog. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to go to the Kickstarter link in the description and follow the project. We look forward to showing you so much more.
And if you draw back and you want to cancel, you just put it right up like this, and it will. That's not going to happen. Please cut that part out.